Good morning, everyone. So in this class, we are going to discuss, there are few keywords. Okay, there are few keywords from a COBOL. These are the concepts we are going to discuss. So the first one is occurs and accept. Next one is initialize and redefines. Then finally, we are going to discuss about call. Okay, call. These are the few keywords. These are the few keywords we are going to discuss in today's class. So we have already discussed about string, unstring, and inspect. Okay, that is in a previous class. Okay, let's observe here. We are going to discuss one by one. The first one, occurs. So what is occurs here? So occurs is nothing but in order to define an array or define define a table, we are going to use occurs. We are going to use occurs keyword. Okay. What is array? So array is nothing but to store homogeneous type of data. Okay. So here we are going to use. So how we are going to store the values? To store or access the values. We are going to use index keyword. Okay, we are going to use index. Based on our index, we are going to store or retrieve the values. Next point is the occurs cannot be defined in 01, 66, 77 and 88 levels. Yeah, just observe here. So occurs is a keyword. In order to define an array or table, we are going to use occurs class. And so the array is nothing but to store homogeneous type of data. In order to store or access the values, we are going to use an index. The occurs cannot be defined in 0, 1 or 66 and 77 or 88 levels. Just observe here. So what is index and what is the use of occurs? Okay, I'm going to show it in a practical way. Suppose you can assume we have a subjects. We have 6 subjects. In order to store 6 subject marks, we need to create 6 variables. Instead of going to create 6 variables, what we are going to do is we are creating one variable with occurs class for the 6 times. Okay, for the 6 times. So how to create occurs class? 01 WS student 05 WS marks pick 9 of 2 occurs 6 times. Occurs 6 times. Just observe here, occurs 6 times. What it will do? So the same variable, it will store 6 values. 6 values. So how it is going to store 6 values? Just see here. Suppose the students got 50 marks. First subject, second subject 60, 70, 30, 40, 80. So here, this is the index. This is the first index. This one is the second index. This one is the third index. This one is for fourth index, fifth index, sixth index. Just observe here, we have created or we have defined only one variable. Only one variable. We didn't declare 6 variables to store 6 values. We have created one variable with the occurs of 6 times. First index, it will store 50. Second index, it is going to store 60. This is the third index, fourth index, fifth index, sixth index. Okay. Based on index, we are going to store the values. This is the usage of occurs. Suppose I didn't declare occurs class. So in that case, what we need to do? WS marks 1, pick 9 of 2. Again, 01 WS marks 2, pick 9 of 2. So like this, you need to create 6 variables. Suppose there is an array, if you want to store 100 values. So in that case, need to define 100 variables. Is this a good approach? No, it's a bad approach. Okay, bad approach. So that's why arrays concept came into the picture. Student 05 WS marks, pick 9 of 2, occurs 6 times. So if you want 100 times, just you can change this number. That's it. Okay. Now this one is easy or this one is easy. So the below one only is a very easy because the writing the lines also, it's very less. No need to declare different types of variables. Just we are using occurs and the number of times. In order to store or access the values, we are going to use index. I want to get third subject marks. So how we are going to use? So WS marks, we are going to use this third index, this third index. So I want to print third index, WS marks, inside the braces, just give 3, so that it will print third index values. The same way, I want to get sixth index. This is how we can get the values. Okay, just practice this concept. Practice this concept. COBOL online compiler. Okay. Just observe here. WS student data. WS student is a variable. So inside this 05 WS marks, pick 9 of 2 occurs 6 times. So now the declaration is done. Just keep on display whether the program is started or not. Okay. Okay, program is started. Now, in order to store the values, how we are going to store? Move. I want to store 50. Okay, 52 WS marks and first index. First index. Just give 1. Okay. Next. Move 62 WS marks second index. Okay. Move 72 marks of 3. Okay. So here I have declared only for 3 indexes. So rest of the indexes will be only 0 only. Okay. Just observe here. So this is how we can store it. So in order to print the marks of third subject. So where it is storing? So it is storing in a WS marks is a variable. You have to mention the index value, whether it is a third or second or first or fourth. Okay. So this is how we'll get it. Okay. This marks third subject 70. Okay. Just I'm going to give one space here so that you can easily understand. See here, marks third subject equal to 70. Okay. I want to see what is there in a fifth index or fifth subject marks. So now you will get 0 because I have moved only 3 subject marks. See here, just observe here. So now it is only 0, 0 because I didn't move fifth subject marks. So in order to get the values, first we need to declare an array by using occurs class. and we have to store the values. We have to store the values. After storing the values, we are going to use it, or we are going to display. So how we are going to store and how we are going to display? Based on index. This is how occurs will work. Okay. So this occurs, we are going to use it in many places. Suppose you want to store, you want to calculate, you need to calculate yearly profit. So in this case, no need to declare 12 variables for each month. So what we are going to do, just you can go with 01 and profit, 01 WS profit, just give 05 or 010, whatever it is, WS monthly profit, M profit. Pick 9 of 5 occurs 12 times. Why we are going with 12 times? Because we need to calculate yearly profit. For the year contains 12 months. So that is the reason we have given as 12. So the first index, it will get stored January profit. Second index, it will get stored Feb profit. The third index, it will get stored March profit. So this is how it will work. So no need to define 12 variables for each and every month. Just we can go with occurs 12 times. This is how we can use. There are multiple scenarios, so depends on our requirement, we are going to use this one. Just remember. Okay. So occurs is done. Now, what is accept? So the name itself, it is there. Accept the value. From outside the COBOL program. Accept the value from outside the COBOL program. It's like from JCL, sysyn. So whatever the values we are going to provide from sysyn, it means system input. By using accept keyword, we can get those. So what is the syntax? Accept name. You want to accept yes. So this is how it will work. Just to practice this one also. So first I'm going to declare variable WS name. Pick X of 30, 01, WS is pick 9 of 2, just observe here. So the program is started. So here I'm going to write the logic. See earlier what we are doing, we are hard coding some values. Move move Johnson, suppose Johnson to WS name. So the program itself, just we are hard coding. So this is called hard coding. Okay, this is called we are hard coding. So later on, I want to change it. So I don't want this name. I don't want this name. So again, what we need to do? Again, we need to go to our program, and here we need to change it. Just execute this one. See here, the name equal to Johnson. Okay, fine. I want to keep it as a separate name. Okay, I want to go with some ABCD. So what we are going to do in a move statement, again we are changing the name. Just observe here. See, it got changed. So instead of hard coding the values, we have a keyword. Accept. Accept will take the input from. It will accept the value. Accept is the keyword. Accept the values from outside of the COBOL program. So this is one definition. The another definition also, accept the values, accept the input values, based on user choice. So in order to change each and every time my program, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use accept. Okay, accept. So the name itself, it is there. Accept is nothing but it's like a receive the value. Accept WS name. Just observe here. So here, so normally the values will come from JCL, but here we don't have any JCL. So in online compiler itself, there is a stdin input. So this is called input. The input values we are passing from here. Okay, from here. I'm going to pass it as John. Just execute this one. See here. Just observe here. John got printed. Okay. I don't want John. Okay. I don't want John. I need to print Joseph. So no need to change any program. Just change the input. Just execute. See here. Joseph. Okay. So the same way, I want to read age also. So what is the syntax? Accept WS age. Okay, WS age. Just print this one. Display is equal to WS age. So if I print this one, it will get print as 0 because we are not passing any age value here. So that's why we could see the age is 0, 0. So in order to pass second value, what we need to do? So in next line, after this input, see this entire line, it will consider as only for one variable. So here I'm going to pass it as 27. the same value, it will take it. It will take it. It will take. Okay. This is how it will work. This is how it will work. Suppose if you want to perform arithmetic operations, no need to pass any value. It's like no need to hard code, move 20, 30 or 40. Just do accept WSA, WSB. Okay. Something will be like that. Just to pause the values. So keep on change the values here based on user input and test our program. So this is how it will work. This is how it will work. Okay. So this is about accept. Accept is nothing but just receive the values or accept the values from a JCL or input. Okay. Next one, initialize. So this one also same, initialize. So here also the name itself it is there. The name itself it is there. Suppose 01 WS name, WS name. Pick X of 20 is there. 20 is there. But inside the program, if we use initialize, if we use initialize WS name, what will happen? If we use initialize and the variable, it will automatically store default values. That's it. So very simple. So what is the default value for WS name? We have declared as a pick X. So that's why the WS name will contain spaces. So even if you don't give initialize also, it will give spaces only. But some cases we'll go with initialize keyword. Initialize keyword. So in order to remove some junk values, okay, WS is pick 9 of 5. So if I initialize WS is, if I print this one, display WS is, it will print as a 0 because just I'm initializing the variable. So whatever the value it is there here, it will get initialized. Suppose, so here itself I have declared as value 27. So if I go with the initialize, so what is the value while declaring the variable? What is the value it is there? 27 is there. So now it will get print as a 27. So this is called initialization. So whatever the value it is there. See, even if you don't give value, now it is 0. If you give any value, the same value will get print. It will automatically store the default values while declaration is happening. It will automatically store the default values while declaration is happening. So whenever we are going to define or declare the variable, so here the default is spaces and zeros. If we go with initialize, automatically it will get initialized. So sometimes why we need to use initialize? Sometimes sometimes, so what will happen is the name, just you can assume inside the name, just I'm moving here, just observe, move mainframes to WS name. So what is there in WS name? Mainframes is there. Mainframes is there. So again, I want to move COBOL to WS name. So if I print this one, so what will happen? So our expectation is COBOL, but the output will come as like, okay, 3, 5. The output will come as like RMAES. So it is like overriding. It is like overriding the previous value. So why it is overriding? So earlier, mainframes is there. Okay, mainframes is there. Now just I'm moving these 5 characters. So only the 5 characters is going to replace. The rest of the characters will be same as it is. So that's why what we are doing. We are going with initialize WS name. So now what will happen? So if I go with initialize, all the values, it will move spaces to entire variable. So now if you move COBOL, only COBOL will get print. See, sometimes this case will happen, sometimes. Okay, if it didn't initialize, so the previous value, whatever the value it is there, it will take it, and only the first 3 bytes or 4 bytes, it will get replaced. So that will give us like, okay, bad output. Okay, bad out. So that is the reason initialize. So if you go with initialize, what will happen? So entire thing, it will move it as spaces. Okay, so inside the spaces, just we are moving this value, this COBOL value. Okay, so that is the use of initialization. So initialization is nothing but just storing the default values. If it is a alphanumeric, spaces. If it is a numeric, zeros. Next. Redefines. So here also the name itself, it is there. Define. So how we are going to define the variable? The same thing, just redefining. Just observe here. 01 WS name. Okay, WS. So otherwise we'll go with the 01 WS address. So inside the address, we have a city and state. Pickaxe of 30, Bangalore. 05 state. Pickaxe of 2. It's like KA. So in order to store, so we have a address like city and state. So in order to store the same value into another variable, suppose I have an addr pickaxe of 50 is there, 50 is there. So in order to store the same kind of value, so we have a move keyword, okay, move keyword, ws address, ws address to ws addr. So inside the program, inside the procedure division, we need to write it like this. So what is the output it will come if you print ws addr? It will print as Bangalore, Bangalore, and KA after this spaces, after this spaces. So here there is a problem. There is a problem. If you want to store the same kind of value, again we need to declare a variable. Again we need to define the size and everything. And inside the procedure division, inside the procedure division, we are going to write this logic. So instead of going to do this one, we have a redefines is a keyword. Redefines is a keyword. So how we are going to use, we will see now. So redefines is a keyword. If we want to store, so the definition is, if we want to store same data and same memory allocation, we are going to use redefines keyword. That's it. Redefines keyword. Okay. If you want to store same data and same memory allocation, we are going to use redefines keyword. So what is same memory and what is same data? If you just observe here we have 32 bytes. So now it is 50 bytes. So how many bytes of memory we are wasting? So almost 18 bytes we are wasting. Also the same kind of data. So whatever it is there, just we need to store it into another variable. So no need to write this move statement and all. So how it is happening is, just observe here 0 1 0 1 ws addrs. Okay, I'm going to give it as addrs redefines from this variable ws address. That's it. Okay, that's it. So if you print this one, whatever the values it is there in ws address, the same memory allocation as well as the same values will get print. The same memory allocation and the same values will get print. So this is a we can print. Just practice this one. We are going to practice this one so that we'll get to know one idea. See, redefines is simple. It's like if you want to store same kind of data and same memory allocation, if you want to use it for another variable, we are going to use redefines. So the name itself, it is just redefine. So we already defined as a ws address variable. Just we are redefining into another variable. It's like address. Okay. Just observe here. 01 ws addr data. So here 05 ws city pickaxe of 30. So the value is zero five double S state big X of 2. Value is K. Okay, well and good. See, it is not mandatory to use redefines. So that is depends on our usage. Okay. If you want, you can go with the redefines. Otherwise, you can declare the variable and you can use move keyword to move the values. Okay. So WS address WS ADDR redefines from WS ADDR data. See, just observe here. So I'm not using any picture clause for this one. Because we are using redefines keyword and we are telling take the values and save memory from this variable. So what is the memory allocation? It is happened 32 bytes, and whatever the value it is there, the same value can store it into WS address. Okay. I'm going to print display both the values WS ADDR data display address. See, I'm not moving any values to this address variable. Just I'm going to do redefines. Just observe here. Just observe. Picture clause is required for address. Okay, just Google it. Redefines in COBOL example. Okay. So why they are using picture class, man? So redefines. Redefines class and mainframe Gurukul. Be picture of X of 3. Okay, normally, so no need to define any picture class here, but let's try this one. Big X of 35. One and 13 as a syntax error. B redefines a pick line. Okay. Where they are storing like this, somewhere they are storing like this. Okay, anyway, so I will check with this one. So what is the syntax, the correct syntax for redefines, correct syntax for this one, and I'll give the example in tomorrow's class. Okay. The basic understanding of these redefines is, okay, if you want to store same data and same memory allocation into another variable, we are going to use redefines over there. So what it will do, so whatever the data it is defined for this variable WS address, the same thing will get stored into this address, because we are going to do redefines. So this is how it will work. The example I will give in tomorrow's class. So the next one, call. The next one is call. So the name itself, it is there, call. So what is the usage of this call? Call is a keyword. It is call is a keyword. It is used to call from one program to another program. So call is a keyword. It is used to call from one program to another program. We are using the call keyword. So how we are going to use this call keyword? Okay, just observe here. The syntax is call program name using variable 1, variable 2, and so on variable n, variable n. So this is very, very important. So just observe here. So there are a lot of concepts will come into this picture. Okay, in this call keyword. So call is a keyword. It is used to call from one program to another program. We are using the call keyword. So how we are going to use this call keyword? Call program name using parameters. So here, in what scenario we are going to call from one program to another program? So just observe here. I have one program. So that is called main program. Okay, main program. So here, main program, I'm writing the logic. I'm writing the logic for builder. Sorry, I'm writing the logic for to calculate rate of interest. Okay, rate of interest. So here, suppose this is for HDFC. Again, it's called ICICI Bank is there. Here also I'm going to write one program. I'm going to write one program. Inside the program, I have written rate of interest logic. Rate of interest logic. So there is another program for SBI. So the rate of interest logic is there. The rate of interest logic is there. So it's like, if you observe, the rate of interest logic is common. What is the common logic here? The common logic is rate of interest. Rate of interest. So the common logic is rate of interest. So how many programs in above? So there are 3 programs. There are 3 programs. There are 3 programs. In the same 3 programs, we have written the common logic for rate of interest. Okay. Just you can assume there are 300 lines out there for each and every program. For the 100 lines for logic. 100 lines for logic. So instead of going to write each and every time the common logic in all the programs, so what we are going to do is, we are creating one subprogram. We are going to create one subprogram. Inside this subprogram, we are writing common logic for rate of interest. So what we are doing, that 100 lines. So instead of going to write these 3 programs, the common logic for 100 lines. Okay. We are taking that common logic and we are creating one program, and we are keeping all this common logic into this subprogram. So now, whenever it is required, so just call from HDFC, just call from ICIC, just call from SBI. Okay, just call from SBI. So here, what are the advantages? Okay, advantages by using main program and subprogram. So no need to write the same code in multiple programs. Okay, like we are using just for reusability of common logic. Suppose now it's only for 3 banks. So later on, there is a requirement. Okay. There is another bank. Axis Bank also want to use this logic. So no need to write these 100 lines into this program. Just we can use this subprogram. Okay. So the main program, from main program, we are going to call subprograms. Subprogram can contains the logic of the core logic of the programs. Whenever it is required, we are going to call these subprograms. So how to call this main program to subprogram? Just observe here. So this main program it's like SBI. So this subprogram which we have written, just keep it as program B. So how we are going to call? So the call is a keyword. Call. In which program we are going to call? Okay, this is from SBI. From SBI program. It's like main program. So always we are going to call from main program to subprogram, not from subprogram to main program. Okay, You have to remember like this. Okay, main program. So here call program name. So what is the program name? Program B. So program B contains logic. Okay, using parameters. Using parameters. So what are the parameters? Suppose you want to calculate rate of interest. So there is a one variable like, okay, WS amount, WS amount, WS rate of interest, rate of interest, WS total amount, total amount. So what we are passing, okay, rate of interest and WS months also, okay, WS months. Okay, just observe here, just observe here. From main program, we are calling program B using WS amount, WS rate of interest, WS months, okay, WS months, WS total amount. This total amount will get calculated from subprogram. Just observe here. Suppose rate of interest. So the amount is 1,000 rupees. The amount is 1,000 rupees. The rate of interest is just we are passing 3% or 4%, whatever it is. The months we are going to pass it as 12. This total amount will get calculated from subprogram. So these are the values. These are the values we are passing to this program B. This program B. So how to pass the parameters from one program to another program? By using call program name using parameters. So now program B. So how it is coded? Okay, how it is coded. In program B, so we have a linkage section. In a linkage section, we are going to accept these values. WS amount, pick 9 of 5. Next variable is 01 WS rate of interest. Pick 9 of 2. Next 01 WS months. Pick 9 of 2. 01 WS total amount. Pick 9 of 9. So whatever the values we are passing from main program, okay, from main program, it will accept via linkage section. It will accept via linkage section. Here, inside the procedure division, using. Again, you need to write these parameters. Otherwise, in linkage section, 01 WS interest variables or interest data. So if it is 01, this could be 05. This could be 05. WS interest data. So now here we are going to implement core logic. Core logic. Suppose you are going to compute some values. Compute WS total amount equal to WS amount into months. So whatever it is, so that is based on requirement. Next, WS rate of interest by 100. You can assume this is the logic. This is the core logic. This is the core logic. It got implemented in a program B. It is in a subprogram. Subprogram. So let me take a screenshot and I will explain one more time. Just observe here. So even in interviews also, this is very, very important. So what is main program and subprogram, and what is static call and dynamic call? Okay. So just observe here. So whatever the core logic, it is present in one program, we are going to call it as subprogram. The program which we are going to call, okay, from another program, so that is called main program. So here we have two programs. One is SBI and another one is program B. So here program B is subprogram. Program B is subprogram. SBI is the main program. So from main program, how we are going to call? Call program name. Okay, program name, program B, using parameters. So what are the parameters we are passing? What are the parameters we are passing? What are the parameters passing? Or what are the parameters it is required for subprogram? We need to mention here. So both either input and output. So here, just observe here. So these are the input parameters. Amount, rate of interest, and months. So these are the input parameters. If you pass this input, we will get this output amount. Okay. So how we are going to call is call program name using parameters. So either input and output. So these three are the input parameters. 3 input parameters, 1 output parameters we need to pass. So whenever you are going to pass these parameters, what will happen in our subprogram? It will take these input parameters via linkage section, and it will give it to our subprogram. So this is very, very important. Whenever we are going to pass the parameters in a subprogram, so it should accept via linkage section. It will accept the values via linkage section, and it will do some computations. Okay, it will do some computations. In this total amount, suppose you can assume there is a 4,000 or 5,000, whatever the data it is present. So after calling this program, again the result will give back to, after calling this program, the result will give back to main program. Okay, the result will give back to main program. So this is how we can call from one program to another program. This is how it will get called from one program to another program. So here in subprogram, we are going to use go back. In subprogram, we are going to use go back. So what it will do? So after using go back, so again, after completion of this logic, it will go back to main program. Here I am going to display. The result. Here I am going to display the result. So the result will get stored in this variable. So now before calling, I'm not sure about this variable data. So just I'm passing 1003 12 something. So whatever the value I'm passing, it will go to subprogram and it will calculate everything and it will give back to main program. So the result will get display in a main program. So here we have a static call and dynamic call. So how we are going to use static call and dynamic call is, so it's very simple. So here, just if you observe this one, so whatever the data or whatever the program name, if you are going to give in a double quotes, we are going to give in a double quotes. So this is called static call. Static call is nothing but while calling the program, if we give the program name in double quotes, we are calling as static call. Okay, see this one, while calling the program, if you pass the program name in double quotes, we are going to call it as static call. So what is dynamic call here? So the dynamic call is nothing but the program name we are going to declare in a working storage variable, WSPGM name, picx of 8, the value is just observe here. So the dynamic call is, first we are going to declare one variable WS PGM name, pick X of 8 value. So what is the program name? So the program name we are going to define in this variable. Okay, we are going to define or attach into this variable. See, the both are similar only. So there is a bit difference. There is a bit difference. There is a bit difference. See here, while calling the program, okay, if we give the same program in a double quotes, it's like direct passing. Okay, directly we are calling by using this program name in a double quotes. So that is called static call. So instead of direct calling, what we are doing, just we have created one variable. We are moving the program name into that variable. And we are using working storage variable name. Here. See, both are similar only. So it's like direct calling. It's like indirect calling. So directly I'm passing the value. Here. Program B in a double quotes. While calling the program name, if you give the program name in a double quotes, that is called static call. If you define, I'll give the definition also. If you define one variable and moving the value and moving the program name into that variable, and using that WS variable, while calling the program, that is called dynamic call. So it's like direct calling. Here it's like indirect calling. So if you observe both, we are calling program B only. But here we are calling directly. So here we have defined the program name in a WS storage variable, and we are using that variable name here. So this is called dynamic call. So there is one important point is here. If we change subprogram, so what is the subprogram here? Program B. If we change subprogram, we need to recompile. All the main programs. There is so if we change subprogram, we need to recompile all the programs. So if it is in a static call, if it is in a dynamic call, so no need to recompile. So automatically the changes will get reflect into main program. No need to recompile. All the main programs. So this is very, very important interview question. So what is static call and dynamic call? So if you say this one, so that is enough. If you say this one, that is also enough. So while calling the program, if you give the program name in double quotes, we are going to call it as static call. If you define one variable and moving the program name into that variable and using that variable while calling the program, that is called dynamic call. If you change subprogram, we need to recompile all the main programs. So wherever we are using this program B, you need to recompile it. If you change subprogram here, no need to recompile all the main modules. So this is very, very important. Yeah, that's it for today's class, guys. So if you have any questions, you can ask me now. Okay, today's interview questions are okay. These are the 3 interview questions. What is occurs and how to define occurs. Next, what is statical and dynamical, and what is the difference between redefines, and renames. Okay, what is the difference between redefines and renames? That's it for today. So we'll meet in tomorrow's class. Yeah, thank you.